There we go. For whatever reason, OBS has changed the settings. Strange. Hey Atsuki, how's it going? How are you? Good morning, Atsuki. Hey Bruno, how are you? Good. It's a good attempt at finishing that painting of yours with the broken space station. It's really cool. Hey Gria, how's it going? And I saw also Fer joined the top 10 showcase. It's really good fun. Cool to see. Hey Casey Mod, how's it going? By the way, please feel free to suggest topics. We're gonna be doing your suggestion. Let's see what we will do today. Hey Zelin, how's it going? Sting like a hornet. Tree belly dancer. Both very good topic suggestions. But the potential is enormous. Armored bear. That's also really cool. Well, likeness of a bear I can't really nail. The subtleties of the face shapes, they're very specific. But let's see what happens. You're gonna post it until you manages to get it? There's something making noise, which is driving me crazy. And I don't know what it is. I want to also see what a tree belly dancer looks like. Ahoy, Cosmoverse! Topic suggestion. We have Sting like a hornet, Sting like a hornet, tree belly dancer, armored bear. If there's any other suggestion, please just shout them out so we can get the ball rolling. Oh, I had a topic to talk about. Again, this happens. Shit. Crack Dragon. Say art. What the? Werewolf General or General? Crack Dragon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we got 5. Let's roll the dice and see. We need to switch that up and switch that off. Raven Warrior or all-knowing. Oh, we got all-knowing crocodile. Okay, we got there. Hey, Thomas. Let's roll the. Oh, is that a 6? That's a D8. No. Roll the dice. Throw. Number 3. And number 3 being 1, 2, 3. Armored Bear by Gria. Alright. I don't want to draw an armored bear. But I guess I am. I am drawing an armored bear, I guess. I don't remember what a bear looks like. I think I've already drawn an armored bear, didn't I? A bear centaur. That's right. Hey, Captain Boss, how's it going? No. Armored bear it is. I'm not gonna do a cracked dragon. Show Photoshop. There we go. I want to change up the approach completely here. Well, obviously not completely because it's me, but I want to Why is it says a discrepancy there? Maybe I need to do some what's it called? Color control, color management. Collaboration, calibrating, not collaborating, calibrating. Sayard, no. Nine, verboten. Anyways, I went to this game developers meetup yesterday. It was really good fun. It's always so interesting to see, and they always invite talkers, right? So this was someone talking about this time. Someone was talking about hyper casual games, and you know how their success story is, you know, the numbers they're generating, and so on and so on and so forth. It was so fascinating to see the massive amount of numbers that they have based on hyper casual games, and hyper casual games being you know, one of the more, you know, these kind of running games, you know, where you run down a corridor and jump left or right, or drive a boat down a corridor, you know, dodge left and right, whatever that is, you know those kind of games where they're not at all in any form hardcore. They're all very basic and it's in its core, because it's just a casual Flappy Bird and so on, you know. They were talking about the numbers that they're generating, and naturally in that term, if you're having like 400 million downloads on one game, and you have many of these casual games out there, needless to say, 400 million downloads, you know, it generates a substantial income purely by a mass, the huge and insane amount of downloads, right? It was so fascinating to sit in and listen to, and them going through the like algorithms. Well, not in details, because I think it is a little bit of trade secret. Their algorithms they use to generate these games, because it's not random. Hey Amir, how's it going? Hey Dave Deviant, good morning. It's not random, the decisions they're making to generate a game that is very casual, right? And one interesting aspect was that they said that they have many teams, like small teams of developers, and they have many developers. I don't know what the computer is doing at the moment. It doesn't want to. It thinks, so I'm just going to be waiting. I'm guessing it's a stealth update in Windows, because this, as you can see in that thing, it looks like a system thing. Okay, it unlocked. Anyway, so they had many different teams. They said small teams that incubate games, and they use like all sorts of algorithms to go through these games and adjust the development, saying, you know, change this, add that, remove this, fix this, and so on. And it was really fascinating to see that that the development length or the time of development of these kind of very casual games, which are a very basic game. Um, there was the one game that they had as an example was this. It was called like knife throwing game or something. It's very casual, stupid game where you throw a knife on like a boss character. Or whatever. I haven't played the game, but they kind of just briefly discussed what the game is, so I don't know the specifics. But it is a casual game, right? And they said that game itself took 3 days to make, and it had like something like 400 million downloads. And of course, they reuse a lot of the code. They reuse a lot of the UI because a clean UI. User interface, with buttons where you see the things and you can buy things, that kind of classic thing for mobile games, and they, of course, they can get that done because they've already done the job, so they can reuse the code base and just kind of fix it and change it to their needs, right? But the fact that 400 million downloads on a 3-day worth of effort, the money they make on that is ridiculous in terms of time. Time is money, and a small effort like that, obviously they have a huge redundancy. Not all games are successes, but the fact that their approach to developing these ideas are like 1 month per game is like the cutoff, and then they have to ship it, and they can also kill the development at any point during that month, where they can go like, oh, listen, this is not working, like your idea is too grand, or the implementation of this and that and this isn't working, we're killing this game, start a new one. And that's fair because it's just a month of developing. But yeah, it's so eye-opening. It's so fascinating to sit in on that and just gobsmacked by the data. I mean, yeah, exactly. Which, whenever I go to these game meetings and these mobile game meetings, and just in general, when there's more kind of business orientated talks rather than just artists creating things and discussing what they've created, it's always so. I always get so reminded. I constantly get reminded, is the better phrase, that art is just a small part of success. That yeah, your game looks great, but do you have a business guy behind you? Do you have someone who's savvy, in the algorithms, or all these things? And I'm quite sure that when there isn't a successful artist, they're not just a successful artist. They are also business guy. They also, or girl, or whatever. Guy as a general term, not as a gender. Anyways, it's so apparent when you sit in on this, and the level of what the art was. A lot of people would, what's that word? Scuff. When you go, is that scuff? Scuffing at it? Scruffing? Scuffing? Anyways, the level of that art isn't amazing. It's not like holy shit. But the fact still stands that there is a market for these casual games, right? Because not everyone has time or the need or in the age group to like hardcore grind a game, right? A lot of people like, oh, I'm gonna play this stupid game while I'm on the toilet, or in the queue in the supermarket. Like, I don't have time to run a raid, or whatever. Which is such a fascinating thing in itself, you know, and that there's always, for me, there's always this reminder that casual market is the biggest buying force. You know, you like whenever you do some art, right? You always, oh, almost like boob streamer here. Nice. Scoff. Yeah. Almost like this when we make this our art projects, right? When we have this vision of I'm going to make this, I'm going to make that, you know, it's going to be the kind of the beauty. Look, behold my illustration, right? There's always this kind of, I wouldn't say highbrow, but it is because we have a passion, right? We want to make the best painting ever. But in these instances, there's always this reminder that casual market is the biggest market. And yeah, there is success in the fanatic aspect of any market. You know, like, oh, making the next Diablo or things like that. But the chances of that is so small that it's going to be a success, that it's, you know, it's not even worth pursuing really, because the chances are so slim, right? But yet the casual market, you have statistically greater chances of success, especially if you pair it with skill, because there's a lot of people who necessarily don't have the skill, like high level skill, but they're good enough to push a product and that it's successful. But it's like I said, I always come back with this eager for success of not doing these highbrow projects, but smaller, simpler, easier, 1 month projects. And like for me, like all in all, yeah, that's great. You know, I think we should all like try something smaller, simpler, doable, that is not this mammoth of a task, right? Because it's not always just about being able to make this amazing thing, but it's also a huge part of it is to make something. Yeah, you can have a personal project that takes 5 years to make, but it means nothing if you don't finish it. Versus, this is going to take 3 months, but I will release it. It's going to be finished in 3 months. People will be able to buy it in the store in 3 months. Versus in 5 years, I'm going to have my potentially my art book, but possibly I never release it. You know? Which is another thing, you know, which is really important. That part of actually finishing something and having the ability to scale the grandeur of the project based on, okay, it needs to be done in 5 months or 1 month, and I can't sit here and, you know, start a very advanced painting because it does, I mean, I can't time-wise sit and paint this painting the way I want to paint it. I need to simplify it. I need to make it clean, or I need to make it clear, or whatever, you know. And that's the hardest part. That's why there are managers. That's why there are producers that will go, hey, listen, we got to cut this. We're going to add that. We're going to fix, you know, it has to be simpler. We can't, you know, this is going too large. And that's such a disciplinary thing to do, like not as in a disciplinary as in like you're being reprimanded, but as a act of discipline. It's not an easy thing to do, and I think that's where a lot of people fail when they're doing projects, is that they're having this scope that is far too. Look at that bear's head, horrible. Their scope is far too big. Like they have the best intention, but they will never ever be able to finish it. And then what's the purpose of working so hard? Because you will never see the fruit of your labor. And then there is these other people who are afraid to start because they don't know where to start, and they have the will, but they don't have the know-how in how do I even get the ball rolling, you know? And that in itself is also like a massive problem in the industry. Like I was listening to this Joe Rogan podcast episode, and he was talking to the Swedish guy who's a scientist, a philosopher, and knower of technology and so on and so forth. And one thing that they mentioned was like they were talking about selecting genes and should there be a moral consideration in selecting like in intravenous, in what is it called when you put in a baby in the womb. There's a Latin phrase, kind of intravenous, but not. Anyways, they were saying like, should we consider what we're doing with like morality? Well, like, why are we choosing the better gene? Is it better that we have random selection, and who says the cleanest baby that potential baby is the best road to go down, so that you don't create randomness of nature, right? But so that kind of had me thinking, that made that parallel with people who are scared of making a project because they don't know where to start. And I'm not referencing saying that they're broken humans. I'm saying is you never know what's being produced. That sounds so. What I mean is that, you know, like a person that have a great idea but don't know how to make it, they might sit on the next big Angry Birds or whatever big success, Flappy Bird, just because maybe they have an unorthodox way of doing it, or they don't know how to start, or but if you never get that opportunity, you can never let randomness run its course, right? So that's my analogy to that gene selecting babies, right? That you never know. Nature has its way of finding a path, right? And if maybe we should consider, anyways, it's not what I wanted to say, but about projects more, that there should be the facility to try to finish a project. So that I had this idea about like mother hen or duck and ducklings. What if like there is like a dating app for small scale projects? So there's qualified people and unqualified people, and like you can never pair qualified with qualified. You always have to pair qualified with unqualified, and then you mash them together, and you make a baby, i.e., a small like 1 month project, and ideally the qualified person doesn't steamroll the unqualified, so that there is a collaboration, and just because it's just a 1 month's project, what can come out can be something really cool. In vitro, Casey Mod. Yeah, cheers. Thank you. Nice, Dai. How's it going? Yeah, game jams are great for that. Absolutely. And but game jams in themselves have like um you gotta have a level of commitment to go to a game jam, right? It's not so casual. Game jam is like for hardcore, it's for hardcore people. It's not uh, an everyday thing. But what if there was a way of making an everyday thing where there is, let's say there is a board of people, much like this company I was talking about. What if there is a board of people that oversee these small random pairings of projects, and then they go, okay, like they intervene and go, fix this, fix that. You get like a weekly to-do list, more or less. And because they are under the umbrella of the qualified people, there's always like a certain percentage of income being given to the umbrella, you know. But it's for me it's a fascinating idea of like allowing complete randomness to be generated, because a good idea is always a good idea regardless of who it comes from, right? And that's such a fascinating idea to me, at least. Like and so every time I come back from one of these kind of game talks, developer conferences and so on, my mind is always spinning at 100 kilometers an hour, like, oh man, projects, let's start something. And then, but one of the takeaway things from what I was thinking about in terms of art book, it's like, would again the casual market, like who would care about an art book of me? No one would care, you know. And even within this industry, who would care? You know, there's a handful maybe. So I was thinking, like, should I even invest time in that? Should I make a casual game? Reap the rewards? Maybe I should be the umbrella and take on some like budding artist or budding developer, and we make strange art babies. I don't know, but I'm inspired because it's such yeah, you get, your mind is blown always. Man, I don't know what a bear looks like. I see a bear in my head. They have a big nose. Whatever. But yeah, it's annoying to be inspired. Gria, no, it's all good. It's a good challenge. I don't mind it at all. But do you understand what I'm saying about kind of casual market? I mean, there is scope for non-casual casual games, if that makes sense. Hey, Captain Zeiss. Yeah, could also be a hippo. It could also it looks like a roadside uh, roadkill. Now it's screaming. Hey, Gomisas, where my accent comes from? I'm I'm Swedish, so it's you can probably pick some of that Swedishness up. But I'm proud to say that I removed quite a lot of the Swedish accent in my English because it's still there, but not as bad as other Swedish people. They have a hard time with certain noises. George, if you need to be able to draw well before you paint well, it depends. It depends what you're gonna do with your art. But in general, though, um, knowing how to draw well implies well informed fundamental understanding. Painting well is more of using of that knowledge. Drawing is a more direct way of saying, I understand how to do this, right? You could say this goes both ways, but generally, if you want to be a good painter or a good drawer or a good artist, fundamentals are key. Um, you have to know the rules in order to break them. So whatever floats your boats in terms of paint or drawing, um, fundamentals are key. And then whatever tool you choose to use is arbitrary. Um, if that makes sense. Violin, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a thousand shit games and get one or get 10 successful ones, or one really niched game which might not produce anything, or it might be the success of the decade. But the difference, the rate, like the chance is so low that that will happen because everyone is going down that route more or less. Well, not everyone, clearly, because there's casual market, but you know, it's a reminder of just how easy things can be. That it doesn't need to be this grand project, and it always makes me reminds me that projects always doesn't always need to be these massive behemoths. They can be small, simple, doable, fun, and scheduled adventures. You know, if you know you have 1 month to do a little booklet of art, you know exactly, okay, I have 30 days to draw 10 pages. That means I can have 3 days per painting. And that's a simple math. Then you know, after these 30 days, it is finished. I will go and print it. But if you would know, like, oh, I'm going to do an art book. So then you start like an art book. Oh, it should be this, it should be that. Then all of a sudden it takes 8 months, you know. And then after these 8 months, maybe the quality for this grand project might not even be there, and you go, oh shit, like how do I make this work? And then you go back to the old paintings and correct them, and then all of a sudden it's another 6 months on top of that, and then this and that and this and that, and nothing comes out of it. I'm just hungover. But yeah, the whole project thing is always such a. I'd say the best is to plan it, have the scope small. Even the smallest projects will become complicated. So if you start out super easy, super small, the chances are that towards the end of things, it's going to be bloated anyways. And it takes discipline to keep the scope small. That's the biggest takeaway from yesterday. Like, keep the scope small. Be aggressive in culling. Like, nope, it's a great idea, but nope, not for this project. No, keep it doable. Scale it back. Casey mod. I mean, I could, but who would care? I doubt someone will care. I mean, I could slap them all in a PDF, make it pretty, and then go, here you go. But I mean, realistically, no one would care. Who cares? Handful of people, maybe. And those who care are here anyways every day, and they see the warm-ups. So why would they want to? It's like, oh yeah, I have the warm-ups on the forum, I have the warm-ups on the Discord. Why do I want them a third time? There's no mass appeal to warm-ups. I don't think so. Anyways, Armored Bear, with bear being questionable. Good fun task though. I used lassos a little bit more today. I felt like I'm missing that kind of sharpness in a lot of my work. Yards, yeah, it's true. You never know until you try it. But I don't think Kickstarter it wouldn't. You need a really clean, strong, simple idea. I mean, art books, when they're in a big project, well produced, then yeah, they're successful because they have a bigger appeal. But who wants to buy like warm-ups? I mean, maybe. Like if you come up with a fun way of doing it or a fun way of presenting them. Could be. If I write down every topic that you guys have suggested and like draw a long book, maybe. I don't know. Casey mod. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's good. But I'm guessing these sketchbooks are fantastical. Anyways, let's find someone to raid as time is up. What's Chloe doing? She's painting noses. Let's see what Chloe is doing. Bruno Romanos, yeah, it's true. Like do public submit your warm-ups to have a warm-up volume 1. Like, join the craze. Who knows? Anyways, have a fantastic day. Good night if you're that part of the world. Have a fruitful, eventful day. Don't forget to keep it simple. See you tomorrow morning for another warm up. As per usual, we're gonna do the outro, and after the outro, go to the raid. So stay tuned. Have a good one. Bye.